Yo! Welcome back to SmoothTech. It's been over a month since I dropped my last video, and I'm recording right now. So if it's 5 or 6 weeks since the last episode, when this one comes out, I've been busy in real life. I'm really sorry, but we've been working. We've been working. So here I am at the iron farm. This isn't really my project, but such big progress has been made. I've really wanted to just show it off real quick at the start of my video. So on my world tour, I'm positive I went here already. This is a design published by Mind the Fab on YouTube, where I think it's pretty straightforward how it works. The golems are dying on the other side. Let's not dwell on that. But anyways, Ezekiel decided that it would look nice if the farm was sitting in a nice carved out area. And it would look even nicer if after he carved out that staircase shaped area, he actually put stairs on the staircase. So that's just what he did. And I gotta say, hats off to you, Ezekiel. It looks amazing. And it's not even done. When it's finally finished, we'll do a nice, more in-depth feature, because I know that there's more going on with this build. We happen to be at a stronghold. There's the frame remove portal right there. So let's get back to the focus. Down here, just a little sneak peek. Here's a little furnace and some slime farms. And this right here is a 36 times shulker unloader that I'm using to unload the shulkers of iron ingots and make iron blocks. But at the end of last episode, I told you guys that we were going to see what we were doing with all those coral fans. So I've already left you hanging for a month, so if I release a new episode and we still don't address it, I don't suppose that would go over very well. Alright. So here we are, back at the sheep farm, and above we have our chorus farm. Let's bring in the second Minecraft account. Yeah, this corner's a little bit less occupied. Do we want to use shaders? What do we think? We definitely don't want to have tracer on. Ooh. So here's the chorus farm. It's inspired by N Collier 11. Let me go ahead and open up this client again. The way that it works, the operator hides in the cart, not hides, climbs in, and my client has a mod called Fast Place that allows me to use this with click, but for a vanilla player, we'll just go ahead and demonstrate. You can go into your controls, keybinds, And we're going to go ahead and change our use item to something else. I'm just going to go ahead and change it to the down arrow because that's easy for me to hold. And so now I've got my right click on the down arrow. So we're going to go ahead and can't seem to use it from there. Can't make anything happen. That was a bad keybind choice. I have to cut this bit. Whatever. Options, controls, keybinds. Yeah, down arrow wasn't a good choice. Let's try... equal sign? Okay, good. Okay, for some reason it didn't like down arrow. Anyways, what's happening now is we've got a cart up top that was just released that's triggering an array of TNT dupers using activator rails that it's passing by. And then after it reaches the end of a row, all the growth sites are pulled. And finally, they're released. And then after they're released, it lets me go. And right now I'm just holding on to my equal sign because that's the button that I chose. Remember, I originally tried to use down arrow, but it didn't work. And that's all I do to replant right now, because I just sit here and let me go ahead and turn on name tag, and then you'll be able to see all the items at the end of every row. After planting 27 chorus flowers, I have a system dispensing 28 chorus flowers, so I only need to show up to the farm with enough chorus flowers to plant the first row. I actually end up with a surplus of chorus flowers in the player inventory at the end of this, because I'm getting an extra chorus flower for every row that I plant, and the Endermen stand on some spaces preventing me from planting. Oh, I'm stalled. What happened? We're not powered. Nope. That's okay, I'll just bounce back. I bounce back! You can't stop me. Okay. We're back on track. Literally back on track. And you can see on the main screen that the harvest is just about finished. So I think we can focus on what I'm doing here. There's a good opportunity to shift back. At the end of this row, let me quickly just turn off the Minecraft 2 so it's not bordering us. Okay. That looks right. We'll get the window properly adjusted here in a second. The main problem that I have here is that sometimes Endermen are standing on the growth spaces, and there's not really a whole lot I can do about that because I have to be able to pull the growth spaces out of the way and then put them back. So there's always going to be a period where they're just open like this, where even if the Endermen don't spawn there because there's a high enough light level, they can still spawn somewhere else and teleport to there. So the only thing I could really do about this is have an end-based mob switch, which is a little bit overkill. I'm still considering it. We'll get back to the subject of mob switches later in the episode for sure. Let me just finish planting this row. Just chilling out, planting some chorus fruits. Tiny Liz asked me for some purple blocks. I said how many, he said a few stacks. That's when I built this thing. That's when I built this thing. For a few purple block stacks. I'm insane like that. I hope you like that little impromptu thing. I only made the track 3 minutes long because sitting here doing nothing, holding a button drives me crazy. I've been doing this for just a couple minutes. I'm already inventing songs. Like, if I wanted the track to be long enough that I could do this continuously, then it would need to be about a 15-minute or 13+ minute length track. So that way, when I get back to the origin point, I'd be able to just keep going because they would be fully grown. And with my excess chorus flowers, I can just go ahead and throw them in there and they'll get sorted with everything else. So we'll leave a link in the description to the farm this is inspired by ncollier11. Let me just go ahead and make sure that my window is lined up right. It looks proper. Okay. So let's leave the end and you'll see what I've been working on. Oh, I should mention, since this farm was for purple blocks and not for chorus fruit, we've got a furnace down here, smelting them all and packing it into boxes of popped chorus fruit. Oh nice, I got a random pink carpet from the duper thrown at me. I'm using dupe carpets, of course, because I know a lot of people prefer to use real fuel, but I don't. Here on SmoothTech, we allow hack clients, and our general attitude is that we do like to use exploits, so we like to dupe carpets. Let's see. Okay. So we're still in 1.18. 1.19 came out yesterday. And one big reason is we want to build end of light. Well, not one big reason. That is the reason. Above any other reason. End of light. End of light is a farm that requires update suppression and light suppression. Both forms of suppression, update, and light are removed in 1.19. So we have to build this farm in 1.18. The way the farm works is you basically have sliced portals, which are also light suppressed. So the portal blocks don't give off any light level, and they also don't have a roof to the portal. So the floor of the portal down here at y-64 would be the highest block in the block column. And it would be dark. So mobs would be able to spawn directly inside of the sliced portal at absolute max mob spawning rates and go to the nether to be dealt with. It's an extremely powerful farm. So we've already gone ahead and made this perimeter. I didn't make content around it. I was more focused on getting it done. But let me go ahead and I'm going to do a little window swap. And I'll show you some of the screenshots that I have of our work on it. Does that sound good? Okay. Cool. Okay. So just for a moment, we're going to use the full screen capture. So right here we have the first trench. When we were at first identified the area that we wanted to use, our main condition, well, my condition was I just wanted to pick a bad land so I could pick up some of the terracotta, and we also wanted it to be near a stronghold so that we could access our infrastructure in the end quickly. So once those conditions were filled, we went ahead and started trenching out an area. Here's a look at the space while we had 3 of the trenches done, and you can actually see one trencher over there with my tracer towards the carpet bot in it. Here we've got a couple of the trenching machines running. This is the same machine that you might have seen already in Doc M77's Hermitcraft Season 9 videos. Here's the area with all 4 trenches removed, and you might also notice that a couple pictures ago there were some big rivers, and now there aren't. So we used end portal duplicated sand to go ahead and fill in all the rivers and lakes, and we were pretty proud of ourselves because that took like 20 shulker boxes of sand, quite a lot. And then we broke it down, and lo and behold, there were massive aquifers all around the territory. But we didn't let that stop us. We just kept placing our sand. We felt like designing a world eater would have taken about a week, and this whole process was about 4 days. One thing I'd like to stop and say about this picture is that I really do admire the way that the Badlands look when it's sliced. It kind of looks like a cake, and you don't normally see this much of it, the face of it exposed. And I really felt like it was a treat. And then we got rid of that. Here's the area when it was all only needing to be swept by one last layer of machines. There's the machines. And you can see the staticky pattern, and then now that's how it is. So let's go back to and get rid of the bot account too, the spectator account, I mean. Okay. But we need a couple of, we can't just start slicing portals and suppressing light to build the end of light right now. No, no, no. Before we do that, we need to make sure there aren't going to be any mobs interfering with us while we're trying to suppress light and updates. So we need a mob switch. What is a mob switch? A mob switch is a piece of technology that you use to load a number of hostile mobs in order to fill the mob cap. When the mob cap's full, additional hostile mobs won't spawn. So if you can control a group of hostile mobs in excess of the mob cap in a loaded space, then you won't have to deal with any mobs naturally spawning and interfering with what you're trying to do. So I don't know why I went to the end. I should have gone to the nether. That was just a little derp on my part. So, to try and make that happen, I picked another stronghold. Not too far from here. About 400 nether blocks away. Let me just go ahead and turn on my waypoints mod. That'll make me able to find it a lot faster. Here we are. We'll discuss what all this didgeridoo is, all this who's what's it, here in a second. So, what kind of mob switch did I want to use? Well, I've got three main options. I could make it with withers, I could make it with shulkers, or I can make it with zombie villagers. And I think you can already see what I chose. So, the zombie villagers will only have the persistence required tag if they were previously a villager with a profession that had been traded with. But also, named mobs are not in the mob cap. So what I need is a large group of former employed villagers, which I purchased something from or sold something to, and they can't be named. So that's what I have right here, is a design where I have these individual cells, and in each cell we've got 24, 24, and 22 mobs to make 70? Yeah, 24, 24, and 22. And right now we're over mob cap, but let me just go ahead. I'm going to fly up. That first fraction, the 97 over 70, is the mob cap. That's active mobs over the total number that are allowed to spawn in the world. Oh, yeah. I already started filling the next thing, I think. Or I'm not really sure. There's definitely not 97 in there. We'll think about that more later. So, what I have all down here is just a simple selection panel where I've got a comparator strength of a book being read where, see, I set it to 1 player, and now this cell is pushed 1 block forward, and these just cross this chunk border right here. So then if I use this chunk loader as well, I could go far away, and even though it's nighttime, let's turn off the chunk borders, I won't be seeing any hostile mobs, but that's only a 1-player mob cap. And we need to cover a couple of real players and maybe a few bots as well. So I was thinking we want at least a 5-account mob switch, but for extra safety, I was thinking to build a 10-account mob switch. And that's why I've come up with that toggleable design. Let's just go down here and demonstrate that there are no mobs. We'll turn off full bright as well, so you get the impression that it is dark in here. So we've got bats. It's definitely dark enough to spawn hostile mobs, but they're just not here because we have some permanently loaded over there. So let's go ahead and go back. This is a nice mountain. I wonder if one of the builders would want to do something with this. Okay. Actually, I don't think I want to encourage people to populate an area too close to the mob switch because we won't be coming back here later. Let's turn back on Fulbright. And we'll turn off ESP because I feel like the farm itself looks a little bit better without. And also my frame rate dips when I have ESP on. So here we have a villager breeder. This is based on Raiseworks all-in-one villager breeder. It's not a direct block for block copy. His is different in several ways. But he's the one who really introduced me to the idea of sweeping the crops past the villagers in like a water stream style setup and having them grab out of there. So what we have here is we've got 16 breeding pairs with a nice little bed rainbow. I've got 12 beds per breeding pair, which is extreme overkill, but the way the breeding mechanic works is they check the population of what they consider their village, and which is all the nearby villagers and beds and workstations. And they take a census, and if there's too many villagers already in the area for the amount of beds they're counting, then they don't have a babby. So I want the number of beds to be far in excess of the number of breeding pairs. The absolute minimum would be 3 per breeding pair, but that's cutting it pretty close. And over here we've got a little crop farm. This is a super cool crop farm. Again, not a block for block copy, but inspired by the crop farm used in Raceworks all-in-one villager breeder trading hall. So we'll put that link in the description, as well as the link to the Encale Chorus fruit farm, so that way we can give credit where credit is due, like a good boy. And oh, that was really spurgy. What I really like about this farm a whole lot is the way that there aren't any hoppers or hopper minecarts. It's just pure water stream. And we've got our lightning shield up there. Old school lightning shield, even though we could have used a lightning rod nowadays. I'm getting pretty bad FPS spikes here already. So many villagers is not very good for the client, I don't think. This is extremely jumpy. Oh yeah, that's much smoother. So what I have here is I've got a setup where Raceworks actually explains how it works. All the mechanics are exactly the same. So if you're interested in how the breeder works, the way that my design works is fundamentally the same as the way that Raceworks all-in-one breeder works. It's just reshuffled a little bit, updated for my purposes, and the zombifier that I have down here is actually from Cubic Meters Villager Trading Matrix, which I also have a private implementation of on the server, which we'll maybe see another time. So here I have to buy something from the guy, and then he goes to the zombifier, and our buddy Robert Zombert gets distracted by me. Yeah, I need not to get so close. When I try to show it off, then he tries to fight me. So, and here I've got a little system where I can one-tick pulse these 2 workstations, because sometimes they don't like to take the workstation, but by moving them to a different block location, that's considered the same as breaking and replacing them. So that saves me from having to do that. And now this guy has a little bit of experience. We'll go ahead and send him off. We'll do one more, yeah. And I already did put 70 mobs in the overworld, but I realized that I didn't want to do all 700 that I was planning to store in the Switch and the overworld first when I want to do the Nether as well, because then I'd have to load the breeder plus 700 mobs down there. So instead, it makes a lot more sense for me to load the Nether side first. So since I realized that while I was in the middle of loading the first cell, I went ahead and finished that on this side, and now I won't be harassed by any mobs. Let's go ahead and make some more bricks. Let's see where we land. No. That's so convenient! Okay. Let's go ahead and turn off the permaloader, because we don't need that right now, and I don't want to accidentally leave it on. That's rude to waste CPU resources like that to the other players. Just because I'm the owner doesn't mean I get to be flagrant like that. Oh, for vanilla player, we do have the door that we went in, but flew out of there. So here we got a little egg bait. No big deal. And right here I've got a system where a fence pushes them so that they're crowded up against the rail there. And then off he goes. This guy only has 3 health, and he's holding something. You're holding something, guy. You can't go in the mob switch. You won't count toward mob cap, and you won't despawn. Okay, let's try again. Okay, perfect. I just go ahead and flop. And I won't make you go through the pain of watching me do this another 1,400 times, but just know that in order to make my episode about finishing EOL, I have to do this 1,400 times. Okay? It's just not good videography for you to sit here and watch me do this, right? Like, maybe for a time lapse, but I really don't want to have to edit that much footage. I'm not going to be doing this continuously, so it would end up being like a bunch of different clips. Like, I'm going to do like an hour right now, and then I'm going to do like another couple hours like after I work tomorrow. Like, you get the picture, right? So I gotta get a lot more of these guys in place. After we have the mob switch, then I have to learn how portal slicing and how light suppression actually work, because honestly, I'm still trying to figure that out myself. But we're taking it one step at a time. We're building on up. We're grinding out our goals. And soon, it'll be 1.19 for us. But first, we've got a little couple weeks of work ahead of us, maybe a month. There's my way back to the end. Anyone who visits here is way back to the end. Let's go ahead and set it back to no players. Alright, I'm gonna end the recording. I'm probably gonna cut it before here.